Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Millie. Thank you so much for being here. On this channel, I talk about knitting and crochet. I share my works in progress, my finished objects, my yarn hauls, and I also have a few knitting tutorials. So if you're new here, welcome. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much. On today's video, I have two things to share with you, and I will start with the crochet project. So I'm working on a block stitch crochet blanket, and this is what it looks like. So I have made a lot of progress. Actually, that's how it looks like. This is the bottom. I found this pattern on Daisy Cottage Designs website and also YouTube videos, and I followed a tutorial that she has on there. So I'm going to leave a link down below if you're interested. And this is an easy 2-row repeat stitch. And most of the blankets that I have seen in this stitch use alternating colors for each row, but I'm doing mine, I'm color blocking mine, and I'm using 3 colors. And the colors that I'm using are this antique white, and this is lion's blood powder of love, and this is what it is. And it looks like, I don't have the label with me for that, but this is what it looks like. And this yarn comes in 1,020 yards. It's a 4-weight, and it's 100% premium acrylic, so it's really soft, and it's machine washable. And the needle recommended for this is a US 8, and crochet hook, it's 6 millimeters. But I'm not using the recommended hook size for this blanket. I'm using a 5.5 millimeters. And the other yarns in the running, this is Hobby Lobby. I love this yarn, and this color is called Sea Blue. And then when I started this blanket, initially I was going to use this color. And this is Yarn Bee Soft and Sleek. It's another 4-weight. And so this is what I was going to use over here. But then when I crocheted with it and I was like 4 rows in, I knew that I didn't want to keep working with it. And so I went back to my stash and I found another yarn. And this is the yarn that I am currently working with. Oops. And this is, let me see. Okay, so this is Lion Brad Skein tones, and that's what it looks like. And this is a 4-weight, and there's 185 yards in the ball of yarn, and the recommended hook size is 5 millimeters, and for knitting it's 8 millimeters. And it's 100% acrylic, and this is the first time that I am using Skein tones. And it's also the first time that I'm using powder of love. And I really love the powder of love. I don't love this one, but it's okay. But this yarn was squeaking a lot as I worked with it. So I don't know if it's my hands were sweaty or if that's what it tends to do, because I know that some yarns feel squeak when you're crocheting with it. I don't know if you say squeaking or, but it didn't have a very good feel. But that's just my experience with it. And I'm thinking that maybe if I am knitting with it, then the experience will be different. And this was in my stash because I wanted to try it, because the label is so beautiful. Like, I love the way I guess they put different shades of brown to go with the pink, to go with the peach, and it's so beautiful. And I kept walking by this yarn because of the price, but then I decided, let me give it a try. And I was going to knit a baby sweater with it, but then when I was looking for a yarn for this part, because I didn't like the Yarn Bee, I decided to use this. because I think it also goes great with these two color choices. So they also go really good together, and so that is why I picked it. And I was thinking, if I like it a lot, then I'll go and buy some to make that cardigan that I was planning to make initially. But I'm also doing a lot of starch bursting this year, and I'm really focusing on that. So I'm just making what I have in my starch work for me. And so this is where I am with the blanket, and I'm making really good progress with it. And the plan that I had for this blanket kind of got derailed because I wasn't paying attention. Because initially I was going to do 40 rows of this, and then I was gonna do 20 rows of whatever color that I was going to end up using, and then I was going to do 3 of these, and then I was gonna do 20 of these, and then I was gonna add up with another section that is 40 rows of the antique white. But I wasn't paying attention, so I thought I had 40 rows, but I actually have 20 here. And so that means that all the plans that I had are changing. And so I have 15 rows of these right now, but it's the reason why I stopped at 15 was because I wasn't enjoying working with this yarn. And so I was like, I'm just gonna go back and use the cream, which is, I love this one so much and it's working out really, really well. And so I decided, let me do a ton of more cream, and then I'm going to go and use this Hobby Lobby. And I've worked with this yarn before and I've had a good experience with it. It crochets really well and it's really soft. And so I don't foresee any problems with this. And so when I go in a few more rows of these, then I'm gonna grab this and add it, and then it's not gonna end up looking like what I wanted initially, but I think it should be okay. I think it will work out fine. So this was the second ball of this yarn, and that's all I have left. So there's not much in here. So it's not gonna go too far. And so that is one of the other things that made me reluctant to buy it in the past, because I felt like there was very little yarn in the ball of in one ball, and the price was not matching what I was expecting. But that's just me, because I like shopping on a budget and I like buying yarn on a budget. And sometimes, and that is why I always try to use coupons unless I really, really need the yarn to finish a project and I can wait until it goes on sale. So that is what I have on the blanket. And initially when I started it, I didn't have a goal of when I was going to finish it. But right now, looking at it, I think I'll be able to finish it sometime in July, because it's a very easy stitch repeat and it's working up really fast. And so I'm grabbing it at unexpected times because of how it's working out really, really nicely. The second whip that I want to share with you today is my Ranunculus. And I know that I'm not pronouncing that correctly, so I'll show you what it is. And then I'll leave the name of the pattern up on the screen. But this is what I am working on. And this is an old pullover. It's a circular yoke pullover, and it's old. Oh, it says here from 2017, so it's really old. The reason why I decided to finally make this pullover was because when I was browsing through finished projects on Ravelry that people had knitted, I noticed that a size 3 or under was not very much oversized. And so I decided that I was gonna make one, and I was gonna make a size 3 to start with. And if it turned out a little bit smaller, then I was gonna make a size 4. But I went for a size 3. Actually, I decided I was gonna make a size 2, and then if it was too small, then I was gonna make a size 3. And so I am currently making a size 3. And this pullover was designed by Midori Hiroshi, and they are on Ravelry. There are more than 20,000 projects that have been logged. So it has been really knitted a lot. And if you go on Ravelry and you click on the patterns that are really popular right now, or what people are looking at right now, it always shows up on that list, and it's been on that list for a long time. And so I think that it's a good pattern, because if it wasn't that good, then it would not have had 20,000 plus people work on it. And some of the people, or at least more than one person that I've looked at, have made more than one version of the pullover. And so I finally decided I'm going to make one for myself, and I am making a short sleeve version of it using a DK weight. The other thing that is attractive about this pattern is you use a size 10 US knitting needles, and then you have your choice of yarn from a lace weight all the way to a worsted weight. And I think that's a very ingenious way of designing a sweater, because it gives a lot of people a lot of options. So it's not prescribed for just one specific yarn. So you can use all the way from lace weight to a worsted weight. And so when I was planning this sweater, I had a specific yarn in mind, and I'll show you all the yarns that I thought I was gonna use, but I didn't end up using, and then I'm gonna show you what I ended up using. And so initially, this is what I was going to use. And this is an ice yarn, and it's a 4-weight, and it's a combination of merino, polyamide, and acrylic. So 19% merino wool, 70% polyamide, and 11% acrylic, and it's a 4-weight. It's a small ball of yarn that I had bought from Ice Yarns when I was trying out yarn from there. And this is such a nice color. I don't think they usually have color names on their yarns. It's usually a number, I believe. But the yarn is called Rockstar, and it's such a nice color. But when I cast on with this yarn, it didn't work, because there is a very unique cast on technique that you use over here at the neck. And the yarn was not working with the knitting needles, and so I put it aside, and then I went back to my stash, because I'm doing a lot of starch diving this year. And I have this yarn which is 100% cotton, and that one has no label, so let me grab the one that has a label on it. So this is Cotton Kings from Hobby, and it's a fingering weight. Actually, no, it's a spot weight. It's a number 2, so it's a spot weight. And I cast on with this, and it also didn't work. But the color that I was using is this blue. So it has a navy blue, a royal blue, a lighter blue, and it goes on, and it's all shades of blue. And I like blue, and so I think it's neutral enough to go with a lot of my wardrobe. And so that is what I was using. But it also, the cast on technique for this sweater didn't go with this yarn either. And so I put that aside, and then I went back to my stash, and I decided that, I decided that I was going to use some merino wool that I have in my stash. And this, I bought this a while back to make a cardigan, and this is from Fiber Seed, and it's a DK weight. And I had bought 6 of these because my plan was to make a cardigan, but I haven't gotten to it yet. And so I was looking for a yarn that had nylon in it, because I was reluctant to use a 100% merino wool, because first of all, you're using size 10 needles, and so that stitch is gonna be very loose, and merino wool has a tendency to grow. And so I didn't want to start with a smaller sweater and then end up with a huge sweater once I've washed it or once I've worn it a few times. And so I thought that the nylon in the merino wool would give it a little bit of would give it some stability. And so that is why I decided to use, or I had thought that I was gonna use this. But then this color choice was not working for me for this specific project. And so I decided, let me go back to my stash and see what else I have. And so I have a lot of these Sugarwheel cotton yarn, which is 100% cotton, and it's a DK weight. And so I have a lot of this yarn, and I ended up deciding to go with this, but this is not the colorway that I went with. This is what I went with. And this yarn is from Hobby Lobby, but it has been discontinued. And this colorway that I'm using is called Iron Fog. And it's a DK weight, and it comes in 335 yards, so there's plenty in here. And the recommended needle sizes for this, if you're going to knit, is 4 millimeters and 4.5 millimeters for crochet. But the needle size doesn't really matter for this one because the pattern calls for size 10 US knitting needles. It doesn't matter what yarn you use, you're still going to use a size 10. So the needle size didn't matter, but I read that just in case you're wondering what the needle size recommended for this yarn is. And so I cast on, and this is what I have so far. So it's a circular yoke, and there are some short rows up here, front and back. So you do some short rows for the front, and then you do some, I guess, for the back and then for the front. And then there are some increases in the yoke. I don't even know how the increases were working because there were some repeat rows. It's very interesting. The thing that I can say about this sweater, it is not boring, and it actually looks really beautiful. The yoke is so beautiful because there's a mix of different stitches. And then there are some raglan increases for your sleeves, so it's gonna give it a little bit of shaping. And then when you go to the other arm and you cast on some stitches, there's a very nice technique to close the gap that usually shows up when you do cast on at the arm. And usually for me, what I've been doing is to knit 2 stitches together. So if the cast on at the arm asks for like 10 stitches, I'll add an extra stitch on each end. And then when I come back to knitting that row, I'll knit one of the cast on stitches with one of the stitches that's already being held on your scrap yarn, and try to close that hole that usually shows up under here. But there's a nice technique here that she shows you, and that's what I'm going to adapt going forward. So I am so glad that I tried this. I knitted this sweater because I've learned a lot of new techniques with it. And so I have tried it, and this is a 2, and it fits me, and there's no extra fabric, which is what I was looking for. And I'm down to the body here, and the ribbing down here is made using a US size 8. So that's gonna singe it a little bit at the bottom, and I believe that's what you do here on the sleeves as well. And I'm doing mine in short sleeves, but once I am done with it and I put it on and I see how it looks, I planned to make one long-sleeved one using this colorway, and this colorway is called Nutmeg. And I have 3 of these, so it should be enough to make another Ranunculus. That's how you pronounce it, or at least that's how I'm trying to pronounce it. There should be plenty to make a long-sleeved one, because this is my second ball of this yarn, and I'm almost of this sweater, and I'm almost finished, and I'm sure I'm not gonna use up everything. So I like how it's turning out, and I'm happy with it, and I'm hoping to be able to finish it this week so that I can go on to other projects that I have planned. So leave a comment below and let me know if you have knitted one of these, and I'm going to leave all the name up here, and I'm also going to leave all the details to this project and the link to Ravelry where you can buy the pattern. I think it's going for less than $7. And so I'm going to leave all that information in the description below for anyone that is interested. And for all the things that I talked about, I'm going to leave all the links as well. And whatever you're working on, if you're knitting or if you're crocheting, I hope that you're having a good time and you're enjoying the process. So until next time, happy knitting!